All right. So it's 1 o'clock. So we're gonna get started here. Um, just to kind of start off our class, my name is Zoe Clugston. I'm an artist in Calgary. Um, yeah, and this is kind of like the first class I've ever taught. I taught some lessons last semester, and yeah, so yeah, what we're going to be doing for this new year is for the next 4 to 5 weeks, we will be doing pencil sketching as kind of what we're doing. And throughout this pencil sketching unit, we're going to be kind of going over some basics of how to sketch things. So today we're going over how to draw a building in perspective. Um, yeah, and that's just kind of like a tool that's really useful to have for lots of sketching. I have some examples here of some of my own sketching that I've done with some perspective, just some pencil. So when you've learned perspective, you can kind of um, like make environments while it looks kind of more proportionally correct. So um, uh, with my art, I mostly do perspective drawings. So that's kind of a basic fundamental that's quite important when you're doing arts. And so that's what we're going to be starting with. And this is what we're drawing today. So I'm going to go over first how this type of perspective works, and then we're going to do this sketch. So if anyone wants to take a photo of our end product here, I will have it out quite often as a reference for quite a few things. So if you'd like to take a photo, you can. So um, for today's piece, you're going to need a pencil and an eraser and a ruler. Um, so I'm going to be doing it in my sketchbook that I have here. This is like the sketchbook I use for everything. It's some very thick paper, but my example here is done in this sketchbook, and this is one that if you don't have a sketchbook, I would suggest getting. Um, this is it, and I think it was $8 in Canada. Um, so I would suggest this sketchbook if you're looking to get one. I, if you'd like, I can send an email with links for Michaels or Amazon. Um, so I'll send those to Ethan to send out to you guys. And yeah, so any sort of paper that you have today, if you don't have a sketchbook, is perfectly fine. Um, yeah, so we are going to get started on um, kind of learning how perspective is going to work. So for this sketch, I'm using 2-point perspective. And the way kind of perspective is built up is you have your horizon line. So this line that goes all the way across my page from this side to this side. My pen is not working. So this line on both sides here is the horizon line. Um, and this is kind of where your sky meets your ground. So this is sky is up here, and then your ground is down here. And for 2-point perspective, it has two vanishing points. So vanishing points are where your lines go to. And um, so the 2 points that we are using are just on the edges of our page like this. So any lines that you draw other than vertical ones all go to one of the two perspective points. So this is why you need a ruler today, as all of our lines kind of go back to our points here. So you can see all of our lines go to our points. So the ones on the right side kind of all go to the left, or to the right, sorry, and all of the lines on our left here go to our right point. So I'm going to kind of go over how to structure this up, and then we will kind of get started on our sketch here. So I'm going to be using pens for my example here. You don't need to do this. This is just so it's a little bit clearer for you guys to see. So starting off, I'm going to be showing you my examples on this side of the page, and then we will be moving to our sketch on this side. So I would suggest following along with this part because it's kind of an instructional of how this type of perspective works. So I always start by drawing in my horizon line. You want it somewhere near the middle, a little bit lower down for what we're doing today. And then I'm going to be adding in one perspective point on that side and one on this side. So this is going to be kind of our page setup. If this square was our page, we have a horizon line and then the 2 points. And this is how perspective kind of works. So if you want to make like a square in this type of perspective, you're going to start off with one side line here. So this, you put one part of your ruler on the edge of the dot there, and then put it where you would like it to go, and kind of draw a line like that. And this is kind of the first line that you put in, and then take your ruler and go up from that line. And then from the dot going this way this time, you can draw your line out like this. And then connecting these 2 spots. And you have a flat face of a building here. So with those 4 lines, that's kind of our starting point for our sketches here, you can see. And this side is very similar. It just goes to this dot instead. So I'll show that like so. So starting off with the diagonal line like that, and then this, and then drawing a straight line between them. So as you can see, all of the horizontal lines that we would have, that would be going straight like this, are on an angle. And that kind of makes it look 3D without having to make it 3D, like popping out of the page. It's kind of a way to make something that is like 3D in a 2D space. So on something like this, if we're putting something on this side of the building, it is all going to converge in that dot. So all these lines all go to this dot on that side. And then all of these lines will go to that dot on the left side. So this is kind of our like fundamental for how 2-point perspective works. If I am going too fast, please let me know. Um, is this kind of making sense-ish? All right. If it's too fast, I can slow down a little bit. Thank you for letting me know. I'll go over it again. Not quickly, but I'll go over it again just to kind of make more sense. So we'll go a little bit bigger here so I can explain it more. So your horizon line is what is the furthest away from your point of view. So it's where the sky and the ground meet in the middle. So yes, and then the perspective points go on either side of this line for this type of perspective, and I'll keep them color coded. And so I'll go over how to draw a cube again, but I'll do it so all of my lines go all the way to the point here. So if I had lines go all the way like this is kind of going to each side of the page, and this is kind of how perspective will work. So it's kind of making a grid, but rather than the grid being horizontal and vertical lines, we have lines converging on a point. So our lines all go to either side of our paper here. So this is one side of the perspective grid, and the other side does a very similar thing to that side, just going like so. So you're kind of like making that grid out of these 2 points. And this is how we are going to construct the house we're building. So this is what it looks like if you put in the full grid with these 2 perspective points. And if we were to draw a house on these lines, I'm going to go in with my pencil here. You kind of draw your vertical lines like this. So you can kind of see this is one side of a building or a square, and this would be the other side. And you can even draw in, like if we're doing it in full 3-dimension here, you can see just how a cube works if I draw in the back lines here. Let me get a bit of a darker pen to show you a little bit more. Is this making a little bit more sense? So this is the cube here. So this is kind of our building. So is if this is too complicated, let me know. And yeah, so this is how we're going to be making the building that I showed you in our sketch. Most of it is just understanding what side of your lines go to which direction. So for most of the lines, I will be using the blue and red pens, just so you can see it a little bit clearer. And then, yeah, but you can see if I put this sketch next to that one, how you can kind of see how it looks. And I can show you, maybe we'll see if this will work. I can show you a photo of a similar building. It might work. Oh, yeah, okay. So you can kind of see those same lines on this building that we have here. So it's going all to one direction and then all to the other direction. Oh, to the other direction there. Yes, if you would like to show me yours, you can hold it up and I will see. Yeah. Yes, that looks good. So that's kind of how it works. Um, yeah, it is a little bit complicated. Um, so I can go over it again if you would like. Um, yeah, but we'll go through like every line, every thing through this sketch and kind of go over how it works as well a little bit. Um, yeah,
I have a question.
yes.
Why, I might have missed this part. Why did the two points of the horizon line, why are they lower? Like
Um,
when you do your grid and your
yes.
lines, they're about an inch, they're about an inch lower, or some amount lower on the going from the blue to the red.
Yeah, this is
It's not
this is
straight,
kind
like
of
it's not straight like if you draw a straight line between the blue and the red, that's one line. But you're
yeah.
actually making your, yeah, like that. That's
So
straight.
this line here is your
Yeah,
horizon line.
right.
So this is where all of your perspective points will go. Um, so the reason that that line is straight and the rest of them aren't is because this is kind of going, oh, sorry, it does not matter how high or low it goes, it'll just look a little more extreme. But it kind of goes in a circle. So there's a type of perspective with just one point, and I'll show you how that kind of works. So if you had, this is not what we're using today, but this is a little bit of an explanation to kind of answer your question.
Mhm.
So if we had that flat line, the horizon line, you can have just one point on it instead of two. So this line will be straight, and then going out from it are the lines like that. Does that answer your question?
Right. So it's arbitrary how far down the angle that you put it at.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. I got it. I think it'll be clear.
yeah.
So the
So
blue is a circle and the red's a circle, sort of, there.
yeah,
But the
so it's
line is,
kind of um all of our perspective points kind of go like this
yeah.
throughout the whole page. It's just right on the edge of our canvas or our paper. So we don't really see this left side. We only see this right side of it.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone else has any questions, we'll do that and then we'll get started on our sketch here.
How do we determine again where the central point is? It's the intersection of the vertical and the horizontal. Is that it? Lines?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Um, how do we determine the center of the circle? Is it the intersection of the horizontal line that we picked and the vertical line?
Yeah, so it's the yes, it is the like convergence of the two lines. So if I didn't know where this perspective point was, I would take my ruler and kind of follow one line here and follow it down, and then take another line here and go like that. And where those 2 points met, then that's where your perspective point is. Yes.
Yeah, but the center point that you picked, how did you choose that?
You mean like this line here? Oh, it's just
Can you go back to, can you remove that? Yeah.
yes.
The lower, no, that one, where, how
This
did you
one.
determine that point at the center where all the other lines come from?
So this I just kind of picked kind of randomly. But I can show
Okay.
you how to find the middle of a piece of paper if you would like. That is part of our lesson today, was that I
Okay.
was going to show you how to find the middle of a square or a rectangle. So if you have a piece of paper and you want to put a point in the middle here, you kind of find your line here. And what you can do, this is a nifty little trick. If you go from each side of the square or rectangle that you're using and do like diagonal lines, then this is the exact middle of your page. So if my horizon line was here and I wanted the dot in the middle, then I would put it in the middle like that and go from there like this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get started on our sketch here. So I'm going to turn my paper like this. Oh, if it'll focus, there we go. So if you want to have your paper with this being longer than this is you want it landscape mode rather than portrait, just so you can have a little bit more space to draw this in. Yeah. So for this sketch, you're going to want a ruler, and or you could use a piece of paper as your ruler, but I would suggest using a ruler. And yeah, so we're going to start by putting in our horizon line. So this doesn't have to be like perfectly in the middle or anything. I'm going slightly below the middle line here. And I'm just drawing in a straight line. If you need to figure out a straight line, lining up the edge of your ruler with the paper always helps me. Or if your ruler has a line that goes all the way down like this and it's clear, you could use that to line it up as well. So like my examples, I'm going to be using these for our points, and some of the lines I'll be putting these in with the pen. You don't have to do that. It's just going to be a little bit clearer for you guys. So we're doing the blue on the left side and the red on the right side here. So to start off, I'm going to start with this side here, and I'm going to kind of go somewhere like this. You kind of want to find close-ish to the middle of your page. It's not exact. And then you want to do a little bit of a darker part of this line where your building is going to be. So this red line here is going to be the building, that side of the wall. And then I'm going to go up from there. So finding the edge of my paper with my ruler here and going straight up. I'm then going to do kind of, oh, that was a little bit too tall of a line. This is why you mostly do it in pencil. But go from this line up to kind of the middle of your page. You kind of want to match it with this line here. Yeah. So you can see that line was a little bit too long. There. So these pencil lines, you don't have to add in. I'm just showing you kind of how they fit in. Yeah. The next step is going to be finding our middle line here and drawing a line down. So here is the right side of our building. We've got a couple of lines that are too long, but if you're doing them in pencil, you can erase them quite easily. Yeah. So the left side of our building is going to be done kind of the same way, starting off with this baseline here. And the nice thing about two-point perspective is you always know where your lines are going because they're either going straight or they're going to point. So I'm doing the same thing that I did for the bottom for the top, lining things up like that. And then finding a straight line here. So this is our base, kind of. So we've got our left side and our right side of our building. So the next step that I'm going to go through is just going to be adding in kind of our, after we have this base, that we have here, we're going to be adding in the pieces that jut out from our base here. So we're going to go over the roof, this little side window thing, and then this rock wall kind of juts out just a little bit as well. So the roof is done very similar to the base here. I'm starting off with drawing a line from the point just a little bit above that original line we have. But for this line, I'm actually going to pull it a little bit closer so it kind of goes further out than this wall here. And just for the sake of showing you, I'm going to go onto this page here because I'm a little bit too tall on just the one page. But you want your middle line to line up with that line. So you can see on this one how this entire corner is on one line. So you want everything that goes in this line to match up. So this is going to match up to that line. And we're going to do the other side as well. So you want to line up the point here with the perspective point so you can see that top part of it and the perspective line. You want to line them up like that. And you want to go a little bit further out than the building. So because the roof line goes further out on this side, it kind of, you can see it goes back towards this point as it's that far side of the block, but it's parallel to this side of our roof. So to do that, we're going to take our ruler and line it up from here to here and draw in a line like that. And I'm going to do the same on the other side, going to the other point. So now we're going to add on this section here. Once again, please let me know if I'm going too fast. So to do that, we're actually going to start with a straight line, kind of placing it where you would like it to be. So mine is kind of a little bit away from this line here and not quite at the roof line. But for it being a little bit easier, I'm going to go right up to that line. So then we kind of have to think of this section as its own kind of building. So you can see we've got this side panel here that is going this way, and this side that is going that way. So we kind of think of it almost as its own building. And because we can see the bottom of it, we're also seeing this bottom section here. So I'm gonna show you why that happens just on another spot on this page here. So if you have something floating, and like you're drawing a square like this, and this is, oh, we're kind of being covered here. So if these are your two side walls, so if this one is this one and this is this one, you can see the bottom of your 3D object. So this is the bottom of it. If we were to finish the cube shape here, it would kind of look like that. Does that make sense? Yeah, this might have been a little bit too complicated. Next week will not be as complicated. Yeah, so we're going to draw in this side face here, adding in a bottom line and a top line, and then a line that connects the two. So this is the same as this face, kind of, and the one on this side will be the same as this. So I'm going to take my pen and kind of do the bottom line here, and this line as well. And those two lines are going to meet on a red line at the far side here, like that. And then I'm going to add in the top line and our side line here. So this is kind of the bulk of what our perspective is. We're going to add in like one or two more lines, and then I'm going to go kind of more into the fun part of decorating the building a little bit more. So the only other line that I'm going to add in is the difference between the first floor and the second floor. And for that, you kind of want to go somewhere in the middle of the line you made here, and just draw a line through like that. And that line you can continue on the other side as well. So this is our bottom floor, and this is our top floor here. So to kick things off from here a little bit, we're going to start by adding in our windows on this area. So these square windows. And yeah, one of the things I like to do is kind of when I'm adding in details, I like to not use a ruler. So I kind of start with the foundation of things and I kind of go based off of the lines I have. So I'm kind of just following these two lines as how to do that window. So like for this side, I'm just following, you can see I'm just following that line like so. You can do this with a ruler as well. So if I were to add in the lines of my window, like that, like that. And if you were doing it in pencil, I would erase everything in this square first, and then go in with your pen or your pencil to do these lines. So from here, I'm going to draw in some supports for this. So I'm just drawing in triangles. So I'm following this line down, and then I'm drawing a line between these two parts here. And I'm doing the same on the far side. And I'm also going to put one kind of in the middle. So I'm going to draw a straight line down from about the middle and then draw a line on the bottom of this and connect the two of them. So we're going to kind of finish up this wall and then I'll move on to this one. And the next step is going to be putting in a window here. So for the base of the window, I start by just adding in a square. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of adding in that. And I do the same thing that I did with the windows up here. So I do an inside line around all of these. And then one line down the middle. And two lines like that. So if you'll notice, this line is the same as this horizon line. So I just go straight across. And it's nice and easy. So whenever you have a line in perspective that is on this horizon line, it is the same on both sides. So you can kind of see that on this sketch here. If this is our horizon line, this line of bricks here, even though it switches sides, it stays the same line. So by this window, I had a flower pot. So to do that, I kind of started by very similar to how we did this portion. I did a line out and a line up, kind of following the way we drew the buildings, starting with that side and then putting in the left side like so. And very similar to um, the bottom of this box, you can also see the top of this one. So you can see both tops. So you can see the whole top of the box because it is lower than this horizon line. Yeah. And I often add in lots of plants to whatever buildings I'm drawing. So I'm going to take my pen and kind of do a squiggly line with lines kind of branching out and going kind of around the window we have here and even up this spot here. So I'm kind of having one major line and then just adding little ones around it and then adding in some leaves. So I'm just kind of doing very simple shapes for my leaves and kind of adding everything in like that. And if you want, you can add in some other plants in this plant box, some bushes or something. Yeah, so the only other like real big detail that I would do on this side would be to add just a little bit of shading. So in my sketch, I have the window kind of shaded in, and you can see I'm just doing some scribble lines. You can see that on this, if it'll focus, it's just lines like this that I've used. So kind of adding in just a little bit of depth. I'm going to do the same for this here. And for this part, like you can erase that line there and that one. You can erase, like I said, the lines of the roof over here, and you can add in some shading on the window on this side here if you'd like. And I'm adding in some lines to the roof here. And that's just adding in a little bit of some texture. So when you're working with pencil or pen in this case, all of your details don't have to be super detailed. So when I am sketching things like this or like the buildings that I showed you at first, all of my details are very messy. Like you can see, all the texture on this is just lines. Yeah, so kind of adding in lines like this and like this, just add some texture and some difference to what you're making. So the other thing to add to this section is going to be one side of the bricks that we are adding in. So I'm starting off with a straight line, just a little bit away from this middle line here. And then I'm going to add in lines that go like this. And these are the lines that will help us build our bricks here. So I'm going to be adding in a couple. You kind of just want them to be a little bit even in size. And a little evenly spaced. If they're not quite perfect, it just makes it look more like organic and real. So this is going to be the start of our bricks on this side here. I also have some flower pots here, but we will add them in when we do the path around the place. Yeah, and we'll come back in and add some more texture when we finish the other side. So we're actually going to start off this side by adding in our door. So you can see I'm kind of lining it up with my second brick down here as the top of my door frame. And I'm actually going to start by finding the middle of this section by finding this corner, drawing a line between them, and doing the same on this side. So this is the middle. It doesn't quite look like it, but this is the middle of our shape. Yeah, so let me kind of show you what I mean by that. So on this side, if we need to find the middle of something, we do that diagonal. And this middle would be the same as this middle if this was in perspective, like this whole square. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, so we're going to be starting off with our door. And so I'm going to be using, like I said, 2 bricks down that top line. And I'm going to draw in between these 2 lines. And okay, let me explain that better. So if I'm drawing a line between this spot and this spot, I'm going right in between where this line crosses with the ruler and this line crosses with the ruler. And then from there, I'm going straight down from those 2 points. Yeah, and then I'm also going to do a line right with the middle dot here. And it's going to be a double door rather than a single door. So I'm putting 2 door handles that are just circles kind of in the middle of the door, maybe a little bit bigger than that. And I'm just kind of scribbling them in. So this is our door. Yeah, so then in just a sec, we're going to finish off the bricks for this side, and I'll show you how to texture them. And then we will do the windows on the top and then add in all of our details. Yeah. So what you want to do the bricks is go match your perspective line and the line of the bricks here, and make sure your ruler doesn't move like mine did, and draw a line between those two things. So I'll just wait for a second and then I will show you how I texture the bricks. So we're going to start off with the bottom row here, and I'm going to add in a line just about the middle. And I'm going to do the same on that side. So kind of finding, it doesn't have to be exact, but just finding the middle between that line there. And you're going to do that on every second row. I'll show you on my drawing in just a second here. You can see I've got the middle line here, and it just goes all the way up like that. So the next step is kind of going in the middle between each side like that, and that's your kind of other alternating line of bricks. And for these long sections, I kind of just guess, but they do get smaller as they get closer to the perspective point. And for the line above it, I just add in alternating ones. And there are our bricks. I'm not going to add them in on this side those lines just as it gets pretty small, so we don't need to add in as much detail as it gets smaller. So kind of our final step before we get to texturing more is just these windows on the top part of our house. So I kind of go a little bit down from the roof, and if my pen would work, I'm not going all the way to either side, just kind of going close to either side of it, and then kind of doing the same on the bottom here. Yeah, so leaving some space on either side and on the bottom like that. And then drawing in a line in between. So the way I make these into windows is I split it up roughly into 3 portions here, and then thicken up these lines just a little bit, like that. And then I do kind of the same thing we did for these windows. So drawing a square following those lines on the inside, and then drawing in the window frames. So here is our kind of like finished base sketch of things. And so now we're just going to be adding in some details and some texturing. Starting off with our roof here, adding in those lines. So kind of the trick I would say to making it look very detailed is just adding in um, lines like kind of anywhere. So adding in shading, we're putting lines on the window like this. And to make this blank kind of house material look a little bit more interesting, I'm going to be adding in some squiggly lines, almost like cracks. You can add in even some like holes almost in the building to show that it might be a little bit older. I'm going to add them down here too, on this side of the wall. And for the bricks, kind of making them look more like bricks is actually really fun. It's one of my favorite things to draw because from this drawing, all we're doing is adding in rounded corners to everything. So you can see in the corners, I'm just kind of drawing little half circles and darkening up things. So just adding in that tiny little bit of roundness to things just adds so much detail to our bricks here. So the other thing you can do to bricks to texture them is kind of to just add little scribbles to kind of all of them. So I did this in my sketch as well. You can see all of my lines here are just like little scribbles on the sides of things. Nothing too detailed, but just adding in scribbles. So next week we will be continuing with some pencil. We're gonna be doing something a little bit easier. Yes, so we're going to be drawing some animals next week. I'm going to yeah, we're gonna draw in some animals. I have a couple of examples that I can show you of animals that I have drawn in the past, and yeah, so that will be next week's lesson. I'm going to also be adding this brick like rounded corners to this side of the wall as well. And then adding in that texture of just scribbles. So I don't put this on like every brick, but just to add a little bit of variation, I like to add it in.
Hey Zoe, it's Mary.
Thank you.
Can you hear me, Zoe?
Yes, what?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yes, what is your question?
With you,
You're cutting out just a little bit. Could you repeat that, please?
I'll do it in the chat.
Pardon? Oh, the plants. Yes, I will show you how I did the plants on the side here. So I'm going to start by adding in kind of like a rounded circle at the bottom here. And adding up the walls and doing another circle shape on top. So we're kind of making a 3D-ish circle here, and then adding in the plant. So I'm kind of doing the same thing as this plant here, starting with a main thing, and then adding our lines like this, and then adding some leaves. So this is a little bit more nondescript leaves, just because it's a little bit of a bushier plant. So I'm kind of just adding in like round shapes, like so. And then I'm going to add in a second plant behind, kind of going the same thing with the circle, and then going up and down from the circle there, and adding in another plant there. Yeah. And erase these lines here. But another thing you could do is add like patterns to your plant pots. Yeah. All right. So I did want to talk um
我就是功夫，你功夫你就定义这响应出来。
oh, Angela, that looks great. Wow. That looks really cool. Yeah. Oh, yours looks really cool too. Oh, all of yours are great. Wow. Thank you all for showing me them. They look really cool. All right. So this was a little bit complicated for this one. Thank you all for still following along. Yours looks amazing. All of yours. So I'll go a little bit slower. We'll do something a little bit less complicated.
It's like civil engineer.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Yeah,
Yeah, civil engineer. Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'll kind of show you what we're doing next week really quick. Yeah, so we'll be doing some animal sketching. So I'm also going to talk for a second about paper. But I'll just show you what we're doing next week, and then I will go over what paper that I'm using. So this is kind of what we're going to be doing next week. Some animal sketches. Oh,
Yeah,
animal sketches of things.
can we try the horses?
Horses?
Yes.
Yes, I think I can do that. I will see what I can do this week. Yeah, so I will write that down and look into sketching some horses for next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Would be a good pencil to use.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of my top pencils. This one that I had out in the video is a Tombow pencil. This is just a 0.5 pencil lead, like a 0.5 millimeter. So this is a pencil that I really like to use. I'll go get some other ones real quick.
When you spell Tombow, Tombo,
It's Tombow. I can type it in the chat.
Zoe, I have this one. This group of pencil.
Yes, so those
From
pencils are
Amazon?
good.
Yes, for
Yeah, so
8B or
yes, I would use an HB.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
6B or
that's
4B or 2B or
yeah. So I would use an HB for all of the pencils that we're doing. Just because that's like the most versatile one. This is a pencil that I got off of Amazon. It's like very standard
this one.
pencil. But also like the wooden pencils are great. Yeah, kind of any pencil really. I'll go get a wooden one to show you that I have. So this is an Artist Loft one that I use quite often. So it's just wood.
Hey Zoe, you can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, is my internet not working great?
Can you show the other blue pencil you were about to show a while ago?
Yeah, this one is Artist's Loft. This is a 4B, so it's a little bit darker than what I would use. I can type it in the chat, the name of it.
You can bring some art pencils for people who want art pencils or paper. Because we do have some supplies, because after running this class for so long. So because we are going to be at the Simons Valley Church Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, so if anybody wants to come, you can come by and take a look at some of the pencils that we have that you can use for your drawing class, okay?
Yeah.
What time at the Simons Valley Church?
We will be there from 2 to 3:30 or so. About 2 to 3.
Okay. How about the paper? Do you
Yeah,
have
I'll
it
bring
too,
the
or
paper
should
as
we
well.
buy?
My name is May. I'll bring the paper. I'll bring the whole range of pencils that we have. We have some erasers as well. So come by, take a look at the supplies and see if you need them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so paper-wise, this is just sketch paper.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit thinner than printer paper, but like this drawing was done on printer paper, kind of any paper works as well. Just to say, this sketchbook that I have is a little bit expensive. Well, a little bit, it's pretty expensive, but it's a sketchbook that I use for everything. Yeah, so this is just Bristol paper though. So it's just the paper that we were kind of using for pastels is what this kind of paper is. Yeah, if you'd like, I can send out a list of some paper pads or sketchbooks this week.
Yes, please, Zoe, and maybe for us to remember the basic instructions that you gave, can you also send us a copy of those?
I am in the process of making a little bit of a handout for you guys.
Oh,
So I
good,
was going to
thanks.
send it out tomorrow. It'll just be like a PDF or something that I'll get emailed out, and it'll just have my notes on how perspective works. I was going to have this for today, but I had a family in town and I kind of lost my weekend time. So tomorrow-ish, tomorrow the next day, I will send out a page of all notes about perspective, and there will be one for when we do animals. And the next unit after that is going to be drawing things out of like basic shapes.
And
Yeah. Yeah, do you guys have any other questions about things for the next little bit?
Teacher,
Yes?
thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Okay.